Hey, to whoever may need this nugget of encouragement, things will be alright, so quit your worrying. I get it, the odds seem stacked back against the wall, but even consider it such, know you'll stand tall. Sat and watch from the sidelines, one too many times. Wicked games we play make me wanna lose my mind. Found solitude, knowing it'll be over.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to SheEO Talk. This is the woman's journey, right? This is where we do interviews to discuss a woman's career path or their entrepreneur experience, right? I am your host, Jasa King. On this segment of the Just Jasa platform, that is where we have all of the amazing podcasts that I bring to you on either a Tuesday, a Wednesday, or a Saturday within a month. We will be discussing, again, the entrepreneur world, a stay-at-home mom's experience going from a career to being at home, or just a woman with an amazing story. Every Wednesday at 12 p.m. right here on all of your favorite podcast platforms, or check me out on YouTube with a full video. You can also find our past episodes on our website at audacityofwomen.com. If you enjoy these amazing women's stories, make sure you hit the subscribe button, like this video, comment your inspiration, but most importantly, turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of the future interviews. Now, let's jump into this amazing SheEO talk for the week. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to SheEO Talk. As you know, I am Jasa, and on Wednesdays, we introduce an amazing entrepreneur in our community that has taken a chance to share their journey, share their tips, and of course, tell us what they do. This week, we have the amazing Nia Hunt. She's going to come on and tell us what she does, obviously, how she got here, and the different things that we think will help you guys, our audience, on your journey. So without further ado, thank you so much, Nia, for coming on.
And thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you.
Of course. I'm super excited. So we've already got a chance to talk a little bit, but do you mind telling us a little bit about what you do?
Don't mind at all. So I am a newly published author. I just released my first journal titled Being Intentional, Purpose Driven a few months ago. It is out there in the Amazon world. Barnes and Noble world. It is the first book that I've actually, fully completed. It has not just lessons on being intentional, but it has prayers that I wrote. It has poetry that I wrote. So it's a very uplifting journey that will take you on a journey to fulfill your fullest potential. That's my motto: living your life to your fullest potential. And as I said, I'm also a poet. I'm also a songwriter. Basically anything to do with writing, I'm it. I can do it. I've been writing since I was a teenager, about 13, 14 years old. I'm also married. I've been married for 16 years. We are a blended family. We have two still at home, one about to leave and go to college, though. So very busy. I also work with my husband, who owns his own business. He has a record label called Money Means Necessary. And so I also work with him hand in hand, as well as, building my own business. I almost forgot to mention that I have my own greeting card company where I make birthday cards, holiday cards, inspirational cards, and every illustration I create myself, and every message in each individual card I have created myself so far. So it's been a journey.
Oh my goodness. Now, wait a minute. We need to look back because there were some things I heard we need to talk about. So first, I want to touch on 16 years of marriage. That is absolutely amazing for one, but how do you balance that when you guys are partners in another business?
Well, I just recently made the change of really working side by side. I've always been there, like in the background. When I met my husband, we both were working at Home Depot, but he has always did music, and he had put music to a halt because, he did rap music, and he had accepted Christ as his Lord and Savior, and he just didn't feel like he could continue with that type of music.
Right.
But when I met him and seen him on the business side of it and seen him operate, I was just like, no, this is what God created you for. Like, this is what you should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, he just went back into it, and I've always been there. I have pictures of our babies literally like sleeping on couches in the studio at studio sessions with coats over them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're like a family. It's a family thing. One go, we all go.
I love that.
That's how we moved all these years. And now I work side by side with him with working records to radio, traveling with him. And, I still make sure that I have time for my sons. We have time as a couple. And I still have time for the things that I'm passionate about, which are, my greeting card company and being a author, and that my writing is like one of the most important things in my life. That's something that God gave me to help me get through a lot of dark times in my life. So that is something that I just would never want to ever give up.
I love that. And I definitely can understand. And I know a lot of us can relate to having that outlet. I definitely commend you guys for working through and making sure that you are doing what you need to do to balance your dreams as well as your family, because that's a task in itself as well. So definitely give you guys props for that. Tell me a little bit about your songwriting. What type of songs do you write, and what kind of motivates you to put these things out there?
The songwriting came about, I was actually I'll back it up. So my sister tells me, because I don't remember, but she does tell me that I wrote a rap when we were like in middle school.
Okay.
So I think that's my original timing of trying to write music. But when I was in a studio session with my husband and some producers and a singer, they were trying to, write this song and lay it out at the same time, and they were having difficulties with the hook of the song.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kept listening to the track over and over and over again, and I just was able to write it. And I've always been very shy, timid, so I'm not somebody that's like, hey, no, I got it. I kind of like tapped my husband like, babe, what you think? And he was like, hey, Nia wrote something, and so they all read it and was like, oh, this is perfect for it. And so that like sparked that, fire to like, let me try this more, because I've always did poetry. And to me, music, songs, that's what they're poetry, and so I started kind of studying music, the format of music, listening to different types of music. And I came across like a couple of songs that were supposed to be about God, but not your traditional gospel.
Mm-hmm.
And they just, to me, in my opinion, they sounded more like a girl was talking to her boyfriend. Okay. And I was like, I think I could do better.
Right. I love that.
So I did. I sat right there and I just wrote and wrote and wrote. And I came up with a song called Fearfully and Wonderfully Made.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of my favorite songs. And it's basically saying, God says I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, so I won't listen to the lies. It's his word that I'll believe in. And that's one of my first full songs. And then I have another song that's a full song I wrote called Brand New Meaning. And then I just continue to, keep writing. I have songs. I'm not a singer, but because I hear everything, I hear the music, I hear the melody. So I record it so that when I do get an opportunity, because, I can call one of my husband's producers and say, can you start a track for me? Listen to this and, start something. This is a song I'm writing. And they'll do it for me. So I love that, I have access to that because, I took it for granted because a lot of people don't.
I love it. That's a dope experience, and I love that origin story. That's interesting. I am very excited to see where that goes. I'm gonna definitely look into the more because I'm very curious to see what you guys have done and how that's gone. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I do want to go back to your first song. So tying it to your journal and the things that you said you've had experiences and things that you've gone through in order to kind of push you to your writing and, having it as an outlet. What made you want to share that, right? So in the beginning, we kind of talked about how a lot of people gatekeep, and we all have different experiences that we are trying to get through. What made you say it's my time to share it?
I think it was I was told a lot. So, I'm blessed. I have this foundation of women, who are God centered, God love God with their whole heart. And so, they keep me centered, and they the real deal. They give it to me straight, no chase, whether I need to be corrected, whether I need to be pushed. Because like I said, and this is something that I'm working on even now in my journey of not being so timid and shy. And so one of my pastors, she would say, it's your time now. You've done the work of being a wife, being a mom. What God is saying is your time. And I've heard that for years. And I started to get this feeling of kind of being on stuff. I would tell my husband, I'm like, I feel like I'm like so stuffed with all these things that that are in my head, and I need to get it out. I need to write it. I need to get it into books. I need these books. God had showed me years ago that I would write books. So I always knew my path because he's always shared it with me.
Right.
I think I just had allowed that shyness and lack of confidence. I take that step until, I really realized like my time is going to pass me by. I need to get out here and do this. And so I did. I just sat. I started my journal. I started another book, which is a book that I'm working on now. And then I kind of sat that to the side because I felt like I myself had to go on a journey of being intentional. And so I was like, everything that he's told me, everything that he's given me, even with the name of my company, Intentional Sentiments, I'm like, he's pushing that, this is what I'm supposed to be teaching right now. And so even when I was working with the youth, I was always, pouring into them, like, you have to be intentional about the decisions that you're making for your life. We can't just, go through life and casually, a lot of people say they casually date, and I'm like, why?
Right.
Why do you casually date? Because you're allowing so many experiences that are very unnecessary, to be honest.
Right.
If we think about all the things we allow ourselves to experience that we don't have to, because we casually went through this, like, oh, I'm just going to try it. Some things take intentional thinking. What are you looking for in a partner? What type of life are you trying to build? So if I'm intentional about knowing what I want, what I like, what I love, what I'm passionate about, then it helps me to be intentional about the people that I allow in my life and how close they can get to me. And I think a lot of times we don't start to think that way until we get older.
Yeah.
So I'm always trying to reach the younger generations to say, don't waste so much time, just casually going through life because you feel like you're young and, oh, one day, yes, I'll have to be serious. No, take that time now because you shave off so many years of, the unnecessary experiences when you just start your journey at a young age of being intentional. I've raised my boys to be that way, just, do something just to say you did it. Is this something you're passionate about? How does this affect your life 10 years from now? It pushes you to think and think with this younger generation. That's something that they lack a lot. They're not thinking.
Right.
They're just like in survival mode and they never step out of it. And I understand that because I've been in survival mode myself. And so I was grateful that God took me through that journey of, being intentional and really making some clear decisions on who I wanted to be as a woman, as a wife, as a mother, as an auntie, a sister, like, how am I showing up, not just for myself, but how am I showing up for everybody else too? Because it all, so that's how we got to the journal. And the song Fiercely Wonderfully Made is actually in the journal.
Okay.
I placed it in there so that, people could just scan the barcode for free and just, enjoy the song because I feel like the song is very inspiring because of the lyrics are very heartfelt. I think it is a combination of all that I've gone through and what God has pulled me through, and how He's taught me that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, that He loves me unconditionally. And now I want to share that with everyone else so that they know too that they're fearfully and wonderfully made and God loves them unconditionally. And I just want people to tap into that love.
Oh, I love that. What a unique addition to a journal. I absolutely love that. And I definitely recommend everybody get that, because that is something that we all need, is that extra tweak, that extra piece that connects back with things that we don't even realize we need yet. And I think a lot of the mental health driven journals that we see nowadays, they're all the same. And they're all trying to put us in a box of how to deal with our issues and things that we're trying to work through. And we don't. We are just literally all doing the same thing, and we have different issues. Not to make it more deep than what it probably was, but it is very interesting to
know. That is very true, because, I think that it's so important to know yourself, because that's what people will do. Especially our people, they will put us in this box and want us to be this way, me and my husband were at the Essence Festival this weekend, and a gospel artist there, I can't think of his name, but he stuck out to me because of what he was saying when he was doing his interview. He said, because of my height, he was like 6'6", and he's like very broad, very muscular, and he's like, because of my height and because of my build, people automatically try to push me into being an athlete.
Yep.
When in my heart, I wanted to sing.
Yeah.
And he's like, so, I did what I felt God had for me, regardless of what everybody else was saying. And that you have to know yourself, because I hear it a lot. I hear a lot of women say, well, I had, my mom or my aunt or my so-and-so were in the medical field. And so I just decided to follow that route.
Yeah.
They don't have any passion for it. It's not really what they want to do in their heart. So they're stuck in a field doing something every day. This is your life, and you're doing it every day, and you don't even like it.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, I know myself. I know that I actually don't like needles. I really don't like the blood. So that's really not my thing. I actually want to be in an office, that's the kind of space that I want to work in day to day. And I actually like putting numbers together. It's so many different things for us to do. We don't have to follow and do what the world says we should be doing,
Yeah.
Just getting to know yourself. And I feel like the best way to know yourself is through knowing God, because He's the one that created us. So the best way that I started to really know who I am was learning who created me and the purpose that He created me for.
I love that. And that's crazy. You open the doors to my next segment. And I'm curious on your opinion when it comes to this. So another one of the podcasts I do is called Contrary to the Culture. And it discusses different perspectives that we have from communities to community, relationships, whether it's of different ethnicity or not. And we just talk about the different topics to bridge the gap, long story short. When it comes to our purpose and kind of following our dreams. In the podcast episode I did last week, we discussed how from one generation to the next, we have kind of gotten this mindset where our parents' generation was more focused on just having that foundation, getting us from point A to point B. And it kind of transferred into our generation, where at some point, instead of following our dreams, we were set in just having the American dream, having the 9 to 5, having insurance, having all these benefits. And the point I wanted to touch on with that episode was just how each generation had a responsibility to elevate the knowledge that they were passing down. And I feel like that generation prior to mine and mine, we kind of got stuck there in the 9 to 5, in the dream, and trying to just make sure we were conforming to what everyone else was doing. How do you navigate that when you are trying to raise your children and making sure that you are handing them something better?
So with our two boys that are still home, because those are the ones that like we've had full time from, to now. And they have been able to watch, their dad, grow his company, grow as a man, take something from nothing and turn it, into something great. And also watch me, do the same. And what I learned early on as a parent was to pay attention to their gifts, because sometimes you need help realizing what you're gifted in. And so the things that I always taught them, if it comes naturally, if it's very easy for you, and if you get a lot of excitement from doing it, that is something you're gifted at.
Right.
Oh, and so our son Bashir, I think since like they're both pew babies. So our pastor, his wife, she would always talk to him and call him Mr. CEO since he was campers. And it's so funny because he has that mindset. He's a boss.
Right.
He's always in charge. He's always a leader or something. All his friends come to him for advice. They look at him because he's very disciplined, and he's very athletic. It's really not a sport that he cannot do. And when he needs to focus in and get it done, he gives it his all. That is his makeup. And so I've always told him, don't ever let anybody, sell you short and say what you can't do. You can do. I know they have that saying like the sky is the limit. I'm like, the sky is not even the limit. Whatever you want for your life is what you can do. You have to decide what level of life you want to live. And I teach people that all the time, because success doesn't mean you have to be a billionaire, a millionaire. Success doesn't mean that you have to be a homeowner. You have to define what success is for your life.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you understand what success looks like for you, then you know how to attack, going after it.
Right.
So for, our son Bashir and even our younger son Isaac, they both said, we don't want to work for anybody. Okay. I love it. How are we going to make that happen?
Right.
Our youngest son Isaac is an artist, can draw anything, and so I'm always talking to him about continuing that, because sometimes he gets a little distracted. I'm like, when the last time you drew anything? When the last time? What happened to that comic book that you were creating? Just kind of keeping them focused on the things that I know will make a way for them when they become adults.
Oh, I love that. And I love what you said, knowing your kids, paying attention to the things that they are interested in, pushing them for that. That is so essential. It is so key. It is such a key when you are doing things. And I think, especially, I'm a new mom. My son is 1. So
congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm different things.
Amazing. I might be biased, but I'm a boy mom, and raising boys is amazing.
Oh yeah, I did not want a girl. Let me tell you, I prayed hard. I prayed hard. I was not ready, and I can accept that. I was not ready to be a girl mom. Still not. But understanding that and paying attention to the different interests. They have interests at very young ages. I see my son now. I'm just like, okay, let me keep that in mind, because you like to do one thing, but you really don't like to do other things. And I feel like as parents, especially talking to them prior to me having my son, we overcomplicate it and don't just pay attention. It takes nothing for us to actually engage in our children. And I think we get into the mindset of wanting to make sure we're doing everything right, that we neglect the things that we should just be doing on a regular basis. But that's my opinion.
It's true. And I think as parents, it comes naturally, because you want to be most parents want to be, a good father, a good mother, and you worry, I know for years, I had that mom guilt, especially working and doing different things. It was hard because there's not so many things for my kids that I don't show up for.
Right.
I said this morning, got in after 4. I still got up at 7 to get him where he needed to go, and I can't see myself not being that type of mother, but also having that balance of okay, I have a life too. So it guilty. You feel guilt when, you feel like you're not showing up as much as you would like to, or you're not giving them the attention that they need. And so just I have learned how to quiet that voice in my head that says you're not doing enough, because I know I'm a really good mom.
Yeah.
I'm a good mom. And I think because of my childhood, so I'm very hard on myself because I didn't have a mother and father that was there for me consistently and raised me properly and gave me the time and the love that I needed. And so I'm like full on over the top, in your face type of mom. Like I refuse to be anything else, but it also creates a lot of pressure.
Right.
And so as parents, I think we do that, and we do overcomplicate it because we just want them to, we don't want them to go through the things that we've gone through.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're trying to kind of steer that boat for them. But I've learned that it's their boat, it's their ship, and they have to be the captain of their ship. They will have their own experiences, and that's the only way they're going to grow and mature and have the wisdom that we want them to have, because one day we won't be here, and we need them to be able to think back to everything that we've taught them and be able to pull it out of their archives and say, okay, this is what my mom and dad would have told me to do. That matters.
I love that. I wanted to touch on it, your childhood. So that's something else we talked about. Do you mind giving us a little background on your experiences and how it connects to your interests when it comes to at risk youth? Woo, that was interesting.
Yeah, that's what's there. So I'm from Philadelphia. I grew up in North Philly, and both my parents were, victims of drug abuse, alcohol abuse, and also victims of broken homes.
Okay.
And so, neither one of my parents were there for me. My mom, she was around, but, never in the position to actually take care of me. And so at the beginning, I started out with family members, and then I ended up in foster care. And so I went through foster care until I graduated high school and went and lived my life. And, I was probably, in my opinion, like one of the saddest little girls because I just felt so unloved. I didn't have anyone, even with family members. Sometimes I don't know that generation, maybe because of how they were raised. And so maybe a lot of them didn't know how to express love.
Right.
And I was always trying to fit in somewhere. I always wanted to please people because I wanted them to welcome me and accept me because I wasn't with my original family.
Right.
And so I went through, just a lot of abandonment issues, a lot of self-hate, where, I suffered, through depression many years because of that. Or even as a child, I always knew when I got older, I wanted to help children like myself.
Okay.
That was something that resonated me. I would see like the commercials for the children that were like in Africa and stuff who didn't have food and things like that. And my heart would break. I would cry, literally like boo cry watching these as a kid. And I'm like, oh my gosh, when I get older, I'm going to help as many kids as I can, and I just think it's unfair for children to grow up without the love that they should have. No situation is perfect. And I know as an adult myself, we go through things. I tell my kids all the time, like, this is on the job training. There's no handbook to this thing of raising children. And you basically watch your parents grow up as they're raising you at the same time. So I support them to, because a lot of times I know parents will say, I know what's best, so you do as I say. And I've taught my children that they're going to be, of course, you listen to your parents, but don't always look at for, what to do as if we do everything right. But also pay attention to the things we don't do right.
Yes.
Learn from our mistakes. I'm never that person that's going to walk around like I know it all, because I don't. And I know I've fallen short with, being a wife, with being a mother. And so I have a bond with my sons where like we can have those real conversations. They don't have to feel like they're going to get in trouble because they may tell me something about myself. No, you have to be respectful.
Look, that's scary though. You walking into some treacherous waters there.
And they come respectfully. I don't do that, but you can, express yourself, because especially for our Black boys who are going to grow up and be Black men, they don't get to express themselves much. They're supposed to, they're raised to just take it on the chin, and so I've never wanted my sons to feel like that. No, it bothers you, let's talk about it.
Right.
I stay in their face when I know that there's something wrong. I'm like, tell me. No, mom, no. And so, I'm not gonna leave you alone until you tell me, so you might as well.
Right.
And then we talk about it. And then, I help them process how they feel, why they feel the way they feel, and how can we get to a better place.
Right.
Do check-ins, how are we feeling mentally? How are we doing? How are we feeling spiritually? How are we feeling, physically? Let's do these check-ins with one another. So all that stuff matters as a parent, and to not have parents, I think it just made me understand how important having a parent is by me not having them. I couldn't imagine abandoning my kids.
Yeah. Well, I definitely commend you for that, because that's part of being a parent and being a wife and being just a woman in general. But a lot of us are still trying to figure it out, and having that acknowledgement and understanding that you are going to make mistakes. I think it takes a lot. It takes a lot of maturity, especially now. A lot of us want to be selfish. We want to do our own things.
Yes.
And it's different watching from the sidelines, but I definitely commend you for at least being able to acknowledge, it's about being human first. So that's amazing. I want to definitely make sure we touch on everything. So tell me again, you are in school, you went to school, you have your associates for graphic design. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's start there. When it comes to your greeting card business, how did you get into that? What made you say you're going to go up against Hallmark? Okay, because I know you about to be big. Tell me about that.
Well, actually, it was my husband. Like I said, because he used to be a artist, so he also writes. Like he's an amazing writer himself, and so for you, babe, we should try to write our own cards. Like we should make our own cards, and we would talk about it for many years, and we just never did it.
Mm-hmm.
I think during that journey of me finding myself and feeling like, I need to be doing something for me, that's what helped me branch out and say, you know what, I'm going to start this. We've talked about it for a long time. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm just going to actually do it. And so I just got a notebook and I was just writing these ideas of cards. And I didn't want no shade with Hallmark and, some other companies out there, but I feel like when I personally go buy cards, I know I always have to buy like multiple cards to say that I wanted to say.
Mm.
And, I know recently, they're starting to branch out where the illustrations, you're starting to see us.
Yeah.
But for years, you weren't. And so when I do my cards, you see us, you see Black people on the cards, you see white people on the cards. You see Spanish people on the cards, and I'm going to even branch and go even deeper and further than that, as I continue to grow. But I just want people to be able to pick up, one of my cards and feel like, yes, this card is for me and it's for the person too.
Ooh, I love it. Yes.
Very, very, very personal.
Yes, and I love that. And that's the whole purpose of a card, especially if you're going to be spending $10 on a card. I need it to at least give me what I need. And I love that.
Yes.
I do. And you do draw your own illustrations, right? You did say that.
So I don't draw. I create, like I said, my mind is just like, it works a certain way where I'm very visual.
Mm-hmm.
I see all these different things in my mind. Like one card I have, it's an encouragement card.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a woman or a man. I have versions. I do different versions. So if I do a version, like this card, I have one for men and women. And on the cover, she's kneeling down and she has puzzle pieces in front of her. Mm-hmm. And then on her body, she's missing pieces because she's broken and she's putting herself back together.
Right.
And so, I visualized that and I was like, I need to make this a card, And so I found a company that does really great illustrations. It's going from a couple of, but I finally found one and they gave you what I was looking for. And so I tell them, I say, this is what I want. And then, they do the first rough draft, and then they'll send it back. So it gets to exactly what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And in the card, like I'll give you a great example of the card that I was just telling you about. The message I wrote for that, because on the front it says, be encouraged. And I put, it's okay not to be okay for a while. Just remember, there is peace in the midst of the storm. There is joy after sorrow. And you are loved by God, who will comfort you in your time of pain and hold you up when you feel weak. Your strength comes from the Lord, who is your salvation and place of rest. Take comfort in knowing your God will never leave you nor forsake you, so you are never alone. Be encouraged.
I like that.
And at the bottom, and not all my cards have scriptures, but where I feel led to put a scripture, I'll put a scripture. And at the bottom of this one, it does have Isaiah 41:10. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand.
I love that.
That's how I just, whatever, I think of, like I just started a apology card line.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like people don't always know how to apologize.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wouldn't it be great if they can just go in a store and pick up a card that's exactly how they really feel, but they keep those. And so I did. I started, my first apology card is basically the person who's apologizing is looking in the mirror, but it's not their reflection that they see. It's the person that they hurt.
Oh, that is so nice. I love that.
Yeah.
You go, girl. That's what's up. I love that. I love it. I love it. You're very creative, and I love that you're using your passions. Again, everything you should talk about, it is in alignment with what you have always been shown to do. And I love that. Definitely an amazing vision to share.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course. I have one more question I want to focus on before we close out, and that is in relation to young women. You have your associates in graphic design, you have your bachelor's in criminal justice, and you're going back to school for your law degree. Is that right?
Yes, I'm in school now actually for my master's in law.
Okay. And tell me about that as far as that motivation, right? You have a lot going on. You have, and not in a bad way, right? So let's make that disclaimer. That does not always show like there's too much. That's not a bad thing. But again, you have, in my vision or my perspective, you have things that you want. You are already where you were trying to go. You have your businesses, you have things with your husband, you have your family time. What made you say that this is something else you wanted to make sure you accomplished?
Well, so the reason I went and got my associates in web and graphic designing was because of my husband's business. I wanted an asset to him. And so a lot of times with his clients, we have to put out like e-blasts with, their music and things. And so I create those. And so, it's like, okay, if he's going to embark on this, how can I help? And I knew I was creative, so the web and graphic designing came in. Then literally me and him went, we took a trip to Florida for my birthday one year. And we were at dinner talking, and he was, he asked me a question. He said, when you were little, what was your dream? What did you really, really want to do in life? And I said, I've always had this desire to help people. And, I said, I always, at one point I thought about being a doctor, a neonatologist to be specific. And I also thought about law, thought about being a lawyer. And, he said, I think you would make an amazing lawyer. That fits you, to the T, and so I gave him my spiel, and I was like, we're always so busy and you're so busy. And then I have the boys to go for law school. Like that's a whole commitment. Like I have to be fully committed, and I would really need y'all support to do that. And he was like, I got you, whatever we have to do. And my reason for law is, a lot of times people suffer for lack of knowledge. They just don't know.
Right.
I know I had to learn the hard way about a lot of things in life. And had I had the right information, I wouldn't have had to have so many tough lessons. So for me, when it comes to, people being wrong, I don't like how people misuse people, violate people, abuse people. And I always tied in law with counseling.
Mm-hmm.
Because I told my husband, I said, I want to have a law firm, but on one floor, I wanted to be the law firm. And on another floor, I wanted to be a place for therapy.
Right.
Because how many things do we go through where, we go into court for these issues, but we never deal with the mental and emotional effects of the things that you go through legally.
Right.
And so they are all tied together. And I just want our people or anybody who doesn't know, because I see so many people take deals, and do time that they wouldn't have had to do if they just had somebody that knew something.
Right.
They get a lot of these lawyers who, are public defenders, and they just are so quick, to say, here, just take this deal, because they want to move on to their next case. And when you do the research, you're like, wow, they would have actually beat this. They would have never even done time for this. I feel like I was always the underdog.
Mm-hmm.
That's something me and my husband both have in common, that feeling like, we were the underdogs. And so for me, I just want to give whoever needs a voice, that voice. I will fight for you. I will empower you. I'll stand with you, whatever area, need be. And so I wanted for myself to know and understand the law so that I could be that for somebody else.
Right. Well, that's definitely amazing. With that in mind, what advice would you give someone that is just trying to step out on their dreams?
My advice would be to go for it at full speed, not meaning move so fast that, you are stumbling over decisions and not really knowing what you're doing. I say at full speed because a lot of times, like I say, even for myself, I allow like self-doubt, lack of confidence to slow me up.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes we'll have these dreams and we never actually pursue them. We talk ourselves out of the dreams. If you're dreaming it, if it is something that continues to come up for you over and over and over again, you're meant for it.
Mm-hmm.
You are meant for it, which means that you have to start it so that you can finish it. And that is, part of my motto this year, finish what I started.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my advice to anybody that has a dream. Finish, don't just let it be a dream. Make it a reality, because that dream is not just for the person who's dreaming it, it's for other people to benefit from it too. Everything that I'm doing, I'm always talking to God about how I can take what I'm doing so I can be a blessing to others who, are in need, who are in lack, who, I can help get put on, or whatever it is, however I could be of need, because I know it's not just about me.
Yeah, Nia Hunt, absolutely, absolutely love this episode. I definitely appreciate your advice. We definitely appreciate your journey, everything that you are doing, that you are looking forward to doing. I am on board, and I hope everyone listening is on board as well. Before we go, what can we expect from you next?
Next is my first official book. I have the journal, but I'm working on a book. It's titled Living in Your Feelings Instead of Walking Out Your Purpose.
Ooh.
Yes, that is what I am finishing, and want to get out there to you guys. Just continuing to, create more cards. And God has been pushing me to get into public speaking. I always want to encourage. I don't think I would know how to exist if I wasn't motivating somebody, inspiring somebody to really live their best life and live it to the fullest potential that God has put in them. So I do want to delve into public speaking, and just, doing everything that God wants me to do, because it's all for Him at the end.
I love that. And I definitely will be getting in touch with you when it comes to your public speaking side. I have a venture I think I can connect you with if you're interested.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course, of course. Well, I definitely appreciate your time. I don't want to take up too much of it. Before we close out, please let them know how they can connect with you, whether it's social media, website, email, whatever you have.
Yes. So social media on Facebook. If you just look me up as Nia Hunt, you'll find my page. Instagram is under my business name, Intentional Sentiments. TikTok is the same, Intentional Sentiments. And my author website is www.niahunt.com. My greeting card website is under construction. So you will, if you go within maybe another week or two to my author website, you'll see the link to the new greeting card website. But if you look me up even just through Google and you type in Intentional Sentiments, you will find I'll pop up.
Awesome. I absolutely love it. And you guys know every SheEO, all of her information does go on our website, audacityofwomen.com, under our podcast tab. You already know SheEO Talk, and all of her information will be there, including her links directly to every platform that she has shared with you guys. So definitely make sure you go check her out. This is SheEO Talk. I am Jasa, and we appreciate you guys listening in. Thank you so much, guys. Bye. All right, guys, that was our episode. Thank you so much for listening to this amazing interview from another SheEO. Here at SheEO Talk, The Women's Journey, we like to make sure that we are catering to our audience. So if you are interested in being a SheEO or you want to just be a guest on the Just Jasa platform, please make sure you visit our website, audacityofwomen.com, and go under the podcast section. On that same section, you're going to find the sign-up links. Go ahead and sign up with us to be a guest on any of the Just Jasa platforms, okay? That could be SheEO Talk, that could be Just Jasa Saturdays, or our new segment, which is Awareness and Heritage Panels. And lastly, our biggest one, which will be coming now in May, Contrary to the Culture. So make sure you go ahead and sign up. I would love to have some new guests. But before you go, thank you so much again for watching or listening, depending on your platform. Make sure you like, share, comment, but of course, subscribe to all of our channels on our platforms, as well as turn on your notifications so you don't miss any future interviews. Thank you so much. I'm your host, Jasa King. Until next time.
Hey, to whoever may need this nugget of encouragement, things will be alright, so quit your worrying. I get it, the odds seem stacked back against the wall, but even consider it such, know you'll stand tall. Sat and watch from the sidelines one too many times. Wicked games we play make me wanna lose my mind. Found solitude knowing it'll be over soon.